Chapter 1. The Call from the Coast. The early June sun cast a warm, golden glow across the parlor of the Drew home in River Heights, but Nancy Drew's mind was thousands of miles away. It had been exactly a week since she and Bess Marvin had returned from the chaotic, rain-slicked streets of Manhattan. The headlines of the New York Gazette celebrating the unmasking of the Julian Vane art forgery ring were already yellowing on her father's desk, and Nancy had faithfully promised a worried Carson Drew that she would enjoy a summer of absolute quiet. No magnifying glasses, no midnight stakeouts, and absolutely no chasing international syndicates, Nancy murmured to herself, spinning a terrestrial globe on the mahogany side table. She had just settled into a plush armchair with a glass of iced lemonade when the heavy brass telephone on the wall let out a sharp, demanding ring. Nancy sighed, smoothing the skirt of her blue linen dress as she crossed the room to lift the receiver. "The Drew residence, Nancy speaking." "Nancy? Oh, thank goodness I reached you." The voice on the other end was faint, distorted by the static of a long-distance connection, but the frantic, breathless cadence was unmistakable. It was Constance Drew, Nancy's second cousin from Nova Scotia. Constance was a brilliant young historian who had recently been appointed a curator at the Maritime Museum in Halifax. "Please, Constance, calm down," Nancy urged, her detective instincts instantly snapping awake, despite her promises of a quiet summer. "You sound as though you've seen a ghost." "In a way, I have," Constance panted, the static crackling like dry leaves over the wire. "Nancy, it's about the upcoming 20th anniversary memorial exhibition for the Titanic. As you know, Halifax was the closest major seaport with a rail link back in April 1912. Our recovery ships brought back the victims, and Nova Scotia holds the largest concentration of Titanic graves in the world. The history here is deeply sacred." Nancy nodded, her expression growing somber. "Yes, I remember Father talking about it. What's happened?" "A local estate donated a water-stained leather valise yesterday," Constance explained, her voice dropping to a tense whisper. "It belonged to a wealthy, unidentified first-class passenger. While I was carefully restoring the lining this morning, I felt a double seam. Nancy, it has a false bottom. Inside, I found a coded diary and a handwritten warning note dated the very night of the sinking. Someone didn't want this passenger to reach New York alive, and the note mentions a hidden maritime treasure called—" Before Constance could utter the name, a sharp, deafening crash of shattered glass exploded through the telephone earpiece. "Constance?" Nancy shouted, gripping the receiver until her knuckles turned white. Over the open wire, a cold blast of Atlantic wind seemed to howl, accompanied by the heavy, thudding sound of boots stepping through broken glass. Constance let out a sharp, terrified scream. "Get away from that vault!" Constance cried out, her voice muffled as if she had turned away from the mouthpiece. A heavy, low voice growled an indistinguishable command, followed by the sound of a violent scuffle. A second later, a loud, metallic clack echoed as the telephone on the Halifax end was violently slammed down, leaving Nancy holding a dead line that emitted nothing but a cold, empty dial tone.